you know what I found out? What he did was great. But in this lesson, what that woman did, wow, that was even greater what she did. So women, you all are still awesome. Even that man was good. I can't take nothing from us, but I have to give it to you all. That woman in this lesson here, she was something else. And who would do that? Nobody. But a woman. I don't think the men would do that. You know, we got out of limitation and we'll stop. But what would a woman do? As Lee Williams said, a woman, she would go all the way. Her love never stopped. No matter how bad, and we use the word bad, our turbo child is, who's gonna be there for that child? That mother gonna be there. That mother, she'll never walk away. She may just turn aside for a minute, but she'll never walk away. This lesson this morning to me should have been a Mother's Day lesson, because this lesson is all about a mother. Now, we look at different kind of mothers. All mothers were no good, but if she was a mother, she was good because she brought you here. That's good enough right there to say, that's a good woman. That's your mother. This woman here was a good woman. This was a pattern with this lesson today about a good woman. And I thought about that prodigal son was a good, but this woman just tops it off. So women, hats off to y'all, because it's something about y'all. Even God knew there's something about y'all. He made us first, but he knew we had to have somebody to kind of keep us straight, and look what he did. He gave this woman with her love she got. Now, as we continue in this lesson, what we've been doing, we see that we leave from the book of Genesis, which is the beginning. Now we come into the book of Exodus, which is such a book of Moses. And then, you know, I began to study that thing and I looked at that. Exodus. When you pronounce that word, it says Exodus, and it means going out and then exit. So I began to come thinking about that word Exodus, and it began with another said EX, but you pronounce it with another X. So you know what comes to my mind is that all of us sometimes we've been somebody X. You've been somebody else. When you say Exodus. Am I right about that? And somebody still somebody X. Exodus. Look how it began. Exodus. So I said, yeah, I all have been somebody X. You've been somebody ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-friend, or somebody X we've been. But what it says, X means exit. So it wasn't no harm to be somebody X, because what you what? You exit. And then when I say I turned that X to a plus. So if you were somebody X, you begin to be somebody plus. You were somebody X lover. Then I begin to think about the second. I said this thing. My wife, she got me because I was an X player. You know better than that, don't you? Just enough fun. Just enough fun. No, but I wasn't. You know, there been some X's in our life. But what happened, we turned them X to begin to have a plus. You know, I had a little fun like that. I know I get somebody was not an X player. No such thing. But I did some things that X's does. But I'm glad that was an X. And I turned the X's into a plus. So when we look at the word Exodus and think about what happened here about this destiny, and it's coming up to where we were. Now, when you look and think where we've been, we're still in the family of Abraham. That's all. Still dealing with Abraham's family. Here we are today in this book here, the book of Exodus, coming right on into his family again. Now, as we begin to think about this here, and think about in this lesson, that was one of his grandsons come on down the line, we see that in Abraham's family. And then we come to the person by the name of Joseph in this family. Have you read about that Joseph? Now, when you study this here, it's something happened in this lesson that we got Joseph, then we got Joseph's brother. Now, if we think about what happened with Jacob, he was nothing but a trickster. Am I right? In his old age, the trickster got tricked. How did he get tricked? His own son tricked him. We still dealing with that old trickster. What happened? They told the dad that the brother, Joseph, had got ate up. Wasn't that a trick they played on? It did. But they played a trick on the trickster. So you see, The trick never stopped tricking. Now, even when God changed him and gave him that limp, but what happened? The DNA was still there. So the DNA was there, and look what happened. That DNA has come on down the line, and he still was being tricked. Here he is, he got tricked. Now, as the lesson unfolds, and we say, this lesson tells us about that Joseph. He got to be a high official in the kingdom of Pharaoh. And after that, as he began that high official there, this new king, look what happened. Come on, sing. He read about it this morning. The new king knew nothing about Joseph. Wasn't that something? Joseph began to be a big man and said when they left with 7. And that son began to do just what God said. You're going to have many from Abraham's seed. You're going to be a many descendants. And here we are this morning, going to get into that many descendants from the little trickster there. As we look at this lesson and begin to continue with this lesson, the first thing we see in this lesson is look what that topic says there. A protected family. Now, when you think about a protected family, what comes to your mind? Taking care, a protected family.
Like president family, we got God's family and all family.
God surrounded them like the president's family.
Yeah. Like a security family.
Like a security family. But what comes to my mind when you think about a protected family and think about us, I think about an animal. Have you noticed a dog, a cat, when they have their little puppies,
Yeah.
how protected they are of them? But what about us? We will too. Some of us will leave them, it doesn't matter. But just think about how protected those animals are in family. So this here says a protected family. In order to have a protected family, who needs to be in charge? God needs to be in charge to have a protected family there. As we get into this lesson, we're going to see how God takes control and is in charge of this here. The first topic, as we get into this here, say, define social injustice. Isn't that something? When you say define, what are you talking about? You're going against the norm. Define whatever they say. I'm going against this here because if we are the light of the world, we should define some things. But since we've been the light of the world, what do? We go with them things that we shouldn't. Whatever the world do, we want to do it. What about that? And we said we are the light of the world, but the world doing it, I want to do it too. But this is a define social injustice. And I began to look back in my mind, I went back further. When I said define social injustice, the first person come to my mind was Harriet Tubman. What did she do? How did she define injustice? She freed who? She freed the slave. What was that? That was going against the norm. The injustice was, I'm going to keep them. So what happened? She began to free them. And the next person came across my mind I thought about was Rosa Parks. You know you should say that. What was her? What did she do?
She went against ran on the bus. She would move
Activist, injustice. What was it? She was tired. She got off work.
Yeah.
She got on the bus and there was a seat.
Yeah.
So what did she do? She sat on the seat. So what did she do? She went against the injustice right there. And that was wrong. What they said? You need to go where?
To the back.
But she went against that, so that was social injustice. Now let's get a little closer to people. The next verse shows you what happened with social injustice with Dr. King. What did he do? He marched in protest of what? Our civil rights. And in doing that, sometimes social injustice leads to what? Leads to his death. But what he did that because that was injustice to us. Now, if you think about what's going on right now in our world, what about us? Are we still doing social justice? No? Yes? Yes, we are. We still doing social injustice. How are you being social injustice? Because of this here. Because of this here. And this color of a what? Color of the skin. You have been social injustice. When I see you, the first thing comes to my mind, he gonna steal. He a liar. He a cheater. He leave his children for somebody else to take care of. He lazy. You know, all those things. They're right. But what are those? Those are social injustice that somebody has said. That some people do that. So what happened? All of us are labeled. In this lesson today, this social injustice come about this racism. Social injustice. This injustice take place. Look how it happened. It only happened back there, but it still takes place right now by being social injustice. Because of your race, because of your skin color, you're showing social injustice there. I don't want to sit beside you because they say that you smell. We have injustice among ourselves. Somebody come in church that's looking not like us. What do? Watch them. Turn our nose up. Somebody come in church different from us. We showing our own social injustice. Talking about other folks, we show it within ourselves social injustice. But let somebody come in when we say our 3 piece, rings on his finger. What the first thing you do? Bring him on up. Excuse me. Come on up here. But let that person come in and may have a hole in his pants, t-shirt, hang, something like that. What is that? Social injustice. This lesson today said defying social injustice. And I like about this social injustice because when you begin to get into this lesson about this woman, I have to say woman, she was some kind of woman. The first thing we began to get into when we define that reader, what do we have?
And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
That's hold right there. That was a man from the house of Levi. So now we're going back to one of his sons. One of Jacob's sons. Who was that son? The Levi. If you remember, Jacob said, let me see. He loved one woman, didn't he? Rachel. He loved her. But Leah, he didn't like Leah. He was forced to get Leah. But who we talking about now? We talking about the son that he loved, Joseph, and talking about the son that he didn't love, Leah. Who was that? That came from the Levite. Leah was the mother. She had a Levite son. His name is Levite. So what happened right here? It said, who got married? The two. The two Levites. Have you noticed all through there, they told her, don't marry what? Them Canaanite women? Why you don't marry the Canaanite women? What reason? They were sinful. All through there. But what we said last week, when he left order for his sons and met them all together, he told Judah. And who did Judah have for a wife? One of the Canaanite women. But I guess what Dad told him to do. Now here we are today. This son, or this woman, they finna marry 2 Levites. Now when you think about Levites, who was the Levite? The Levite was the priestly peoples later on in the lesson. So this woman here, and this man, it did what they say, they married together. And the next thing, Rita, not only did they marry together, but what happened now, Rita?
And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
They got together, they married, they had a child, but what happened before that? What happened before this took place? About the marriage, about having a child. Let's go back. I'm not talking. But she said it was a son that was supposed to kill him. That's it. But let's get a little further than that. How did this come about? Well, the Egyptian was populating so fast that new king took over. He knew nothing about Joseph. So he had to put an end to the population. And what was his first thought come to his mind? Kill who? Kill all us. The men. Kill the men, like kill the boys. If you kill the boys, what would happen to the population? The population would go down. So what happened? I hear somebody say, talk to them. It would increase. So what you do, you stop it at the beginning. In the beginning, that means you stop the boys. You kill all the boys. If you kill the boys, there would be no more because they're populated too fast. And not only this, they're populated so fast that they might even take over. So what we gonna do? I'm gonna come and preach. And what I thought about this. This is what he said. Pharaoh, he come up with the plan that he was gonna stop. And how we do this? Kill all the boys. Okay, I'm gonna kill all the boys who do that there. But this woman, look what she did. Now let's go back to that woman. It says that if you notice, what's not mentioned in here? Her name is not mentioned. If you go on down further, you see the sister name is not mentioned. But when you read about it, you know who the name was, the mom and the daughter. But here, right here, it says that you can see the godly child. Now, that godly child, what do people say about that godly child? She saw something in that child. You know, when you read, some of them say he was a beautiful child. But they describe beautiful as the word God. Why would they do that? Well, this woman, her name, she was already glorified for God by name. Didn't I tell y'all about some name that we give our children? The name that we can't even spell. I know sometimes they take a child from preschool to first grade to even try to pronounce his name. It takes them from first grade to second grade to even spell his name. Why? Because we give them all the crazy names. What we want to do, we want to outdo somebody's name. That name sure sounds pretty to me. But this is not what it's all about. Then our name meant something. When they named it, we're going to see what even the name that she gave this boy later on, I can't call his name yet, because it doesn't tell us his name. That means something. Even his mother's name meant something. Everything we read about these names, they meant something. So we need to look at the name that we give our church and how we do our grandchildren. You know, there are no more James, Jim, and John, and Bob. You know, nobody named children. If you name your child John, what they do? They laugh you out of stop. If you name your child Glory, that old-fashioned name, anything. We want to give our children the pretty name, and someone tell me how I didn't get through today. Pretty long name. And then they got all these little height. And you know, I don't know what you know, but if you get educated, if you don't pronounce that child's name right, he'll tell you, that's not my name. Have anybody ever done it? They'll tell you in a minute, that's not my name. They want their name. And what does that name mean? Nothing. But they give it to him in the house. And here we go right here. This woman here, I like it. So she conceived a child. They were two Levites. And then she was a godly child. And here's the good part. She hid that child. She hid for how many months? 3 months. Why was she hiding? Because there was a decree that all men would be killed. He first said, midwife, I want you to take your babies. Then that didn't work. So what he said, I want all babies go in the Nile River. All boys. So what happened there, I kind of fast forward my mind to the New Testament. Somebody else had a decree on him to be killed. Who was that person? When you get into the New Testament in Matthew, Jesus. Look at him. We had Moses. Now we have what? Jesus. The same thing as decree. To kill both of them. If you kill them, the population will stop right there. Stop the man. But then it says she hid him for 3 months. What came to my attention when it said hid him for 3 months? There's some things that we need to hide from our children. Am I right now? What you need to hide from your children? You need to hide all these sinful things from your children. You need to hide some of the things that you do from your children. You need to hide your children from some of the things that they see on TV. You need to hide that from your children because they see all this stuff right here. We need to hide some things from them. She hid this child for 3 months. Now, if you think about this woman, if she hid this child for 3 months, there was a decree. What was on this woman? what was after her? If she went against, what did she go against? She went against what the king said. So if she went against what the king said, what would the king probably do if he know that she's not there? He would kill her and probably kill her whole family. Because what? She hid him. She hid him for 3 months. Can you imagine trying to hide a baby from 3 months? And in 3 months' time, you know it's going to be some holly. You know it's going to be some fire. And what she did, she hid him for 3 months. She put a dress on. Oh, look at that. She put a dress on. She wanted to be smart. But this woman here, she hid him for 3 months. She kept him quiet for 3 months. So that's why I said, some days we need to hide from our church. But she hid him for 3 months. And what that next is, I read? Tell us.
And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink.
When she could not hide it no longer, the child began to grow up. And look what she did. This is my child. I had this child. I know there's a decree to kill my child. So I got to think, what am I going to do? What she did, she hid her child, she took it. She made this little, when you say that bulrush, she took that was a basket, just like a boat. She made that and said, she put that towel around there. Then she put that paper that was on the inside to cover up his face. And she put it inside. What did that woman do then? What that mother? She loves her child so that she was going to what? Protect her child. Even against what the king said. Now this is who? This is my child. She had to vote, but this is my child here. So I'm going to hide this child, even though I put my other family in risk. Because I love my child so. What about that, folks? The love that a mother had. Do you see what she did? How much love do we have for our children? What kind of love would you do for your child? How much love have you done for your child? Even when your child was doing something they shouldn't do, what was the love at? Still there. This woman's love was still there. Even going against everybody else, going against the king, putting her life on there, it was still there. She hid him. She put him in a basket. She could no longer keep him. And look what happened after that. She put him by the river. Now, when you read about that river there, she said, now, on the bank of this river right here, that's why she put him in. What did that sound? Put him in this basket. And I thought about that. At that basket, I went back to Noah. Do you know what happened there when she built the boat? This was a boat just like Noah. What happened on that boat? God protected who? Noah. What was God doing right here? God protected. Look how God was still working. This old king had a plan. Well, what was the plan? That was a king plan, but who planned it was not? God planned. Because God already had the plan. The king had his plan. So as we look what you have left, and read them, what's that next verse that was about there?
And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him.
Now look what we got. He's in the basket. He is by the river. And look, what river is he by? The Nile River. What was going to happen in the Nile River? Safety. Other things going to happen is what? All boy babies going to be what? Thrown into the Nile River. Now look who's sitting by the Nile River. The baby sitting by the Nile River. She did that. Who did that? The mother. The mother put him there. Now, after that part, when it said, where she put him in there and kind of hid him right there, and she just told you who was standing looking. His sister. Can you see her sister? Do you mind looking at sister? Looking at my little baby brother there. Looking at my baby brother. Didn't know what's going to happen to my baby brother. But I'm going to stand there and look and see what's going on with my baby brother. She's standing there looking. Now, you know they still didn't call her what? No name. What it said is was still there looking. Now, I like the next part. Not only was she looking, but the next part really going to get you into it. Anybody got something to say while we're at now? Because this mother is something that this should be one of the Mother Day things. But if you don't, I have a question for you. It says, the question says, what risks are involved in addressing social injustice? through nonviolent and civil disobedience. What risk do you take when you do something like this woman? Being killed, that's the first risk that you take. When you go against the norm, you have a chance of being killed. What you doing? Putting your life on the line. When we go back to the people we just talked about, Harry Tubman, Rosa Parks, Dr. King, those people went against the social justice and their life on the line, and we found out what happened. Dr. King did get assassinated because he went against what? The social justice. Anytime you go against injustice for justice, you put your life on the line. Then the other part, the second part of that question say, what is the community of faith role in this process? What's our role? Are we a community of faith? Are we a community of faith? If we're a community of faith, what's our role? Stand up and do what's right. I know it's right to do this here, but what happened? Well, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm not going to put my family in risk. What does it say? You're already at risk. You got to stand up and do what's right. If I am the light of the world, what am I supposed to do? Shine. And shine doesn't mean get with the world. Shine means stand up against the world. I live in the world, but I don't have to do what the world do. That's our problem. We want to do the same thing that the world do. Ms. Tracy?
Associate at work with a young man. Yesterday we had his hat turned to one side. I asked him this one. I said, did I not tell you not to wear that hat at work? I'm sorry. You told me so when we got ready to leave last night. He still had his hat turned right. I told him, you can't do that. We're at work. You don't know who's in the building. We've had one confrontation at the store for gang violence. I told him, don't put yourself in here.
You see, we got to take a stand. And that stand means telling somebody, but what you do, you tell them in the right way. Don't wear your pants like that. But you know, it's kind of hard for me to tell somebody not to wear my pants like that, and I'm wearing pants 2 sizes too big. Isn't that something? Then I'm going to tell you how to wear your pants. So that's the problem we got. When you stand up what's right, you need to be doing what's right. So people say, you're right about that. But what we do, we doing what's wrong, and you're going to tell me what's right. You need to do what's right, just tell me and show me what's right. And I had back at one day, I saw somebody say, hey, you know, one of our problems, I don't know whether you know, but we have women, have the little girls, this is what gets me. Little girls, 7, 8 years old, oh, this something like, have you seen that? Have you seen it? And what you doing there? You setting your child up for some kind of pedophile, and then you get mad because he touched your child. Why shouldn't he? A pedophile have no feeling for nobody except that's what he's doing. So you see how we do things, and then we say, what's wrong with that? That's wrong right there. You pushing your child to be a woman if she's still a child. Let that child grow up to be a what? No, let that child grow up to be a woman, but let her grow up. Don't let her be a woman at 7 and 8 years old. I look at some of the things when I go out Walmart. I know you also. I have to say it's just beautiful. You don't even know where one start and where the other start. The top is so short, it's nothing that you can't get on. Everything's short. But then we want to know what's going on. And what the first thing said, I'm a preacher. Them same folks come in that door. The same one you see out here. You don't even know what to talk about. You look like it is way to top. I'll be sometimes wondering, what is anything about that? I'm telling you, you don't do it too. Because that's what's going on. But what are we supposed to do? We are the what? Light of the world. And the light of the world don't mean that we have to be a part of the world. I've seen it in films. Some people come to me and they should dress they wear, they should let's stay somewhere else. When I'm sad tonight, we said dress, and that's what you come here. Let me get out there and get back over here. The next part, because it got good to me when I thought about this woman, what this woman done. The next part says, anybody else got something to say? I said, a baby crying. Look at him. Now we see, she done put him in the boat. The sister standing there looking. Now the baby cried. Rita, what do we have in that?
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
Who came down by the river? Pharaoh's daughter came down by the river. Look what the mother put the baby down by the river. And look who came to bathe. Pharaoh's daughter. Isn't that something? Look who is still working. God is still working. Even though Pharaoh said what? Killed all the boys. But what he didn't know, that somebody more powerful than him said, I got a plan. And here's the plan right here. She came down, Pharaoh's own daughter. Ain't that something? The own daughter came down there. And who was in the river? The baby in the river. And Pharaoh, sometimes your enemy is in the house with you. As we read this thing here, we're going to see what happened to Pharaoh. His daughter brought the enemy in. And he didn't know anything about it. He put her to cry, kill him. And here comes his daughter with the enemy. Look what it says there. So, and then said, she told her maid to go and do what? Bring the baby. Something in that basket. Bring that baby to me. Okay. What is it?
Now, I have heard it before. They said when the baby like this, the angel pinched the baby, made him cry.
The angel pinched the baby, made him cry. He said it's what I heard. The angel. But what we do know is the baby cried. Well, why did the baby cry? Because God was moving. God wanted to get who attention? Get this woman attention. Because this baby was supposed to be dead. Why you know that? Because it said all who? All male. And what is this a male baby? This is a male baby. Then you probably want to know the next part. Read the next one.
And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children.
Now look what happened. When they brought her the baby wept. So it doesn't tell us how long the baby been there, but it said when she brought her the baby cried. The baby wept. What means to cry? And not only did the baby cry, it said after she opened up, and then she had compassion. Now look at that word compassion. What did that word compassion mean? She cared. And not only that means mercy. She had mercy right there. Isn't that something? So who had mercy on us? How do you know he had mercy on the baby? He had mercy on us. Because what? The baby cried. We don't know before then, but all we know when she opened it up, the baby cried. What I said, God is still moving, going against what this man said. And that's just so good what happened right there. And that's not the only thing happened right there, besides the baby crying. And she said, a Hebrew child. Now, how does she know this was a Hebrew? The cloth she said he wrapped in. You own it. Anybody else? How does she know that was a Hebrew? He was in the river. This says what? So all the boys were in the river. And what was he at? In the river. And not only that, it said they made it to cry. God told Abraham, 8 days old baby should be what? Circumcised. This child was circumcised. But that tells me that Egyptian didn't do that. But she know this baby here, he was in the river. He was circumcised. And not only that, his color. His color was like hers. So she knew this was what? This was a Hebrew child. Don't they know our color? Can't they tell who we are? By looking at us? Don't they do it now? Same thing. So what that tell you? Nothing have changed. From way back there to right here, nothing have changed. That's how we identify. So the same thing happened. The same thing happened. What happened there? There was injustice against a race of people from Pharaoh. What do we have right here? Injustice against a race of people because we are black. Is there injustice right there? So you see the same thing is happening right there. There's no difference. Now, on that, Rita, give me that next one. This is a good one here.
Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?
Who was standing there looking from the beginning? The sister. The sister was standing there looking. Now she said, The baby crying. You know, I read about somebody said that the woman, she was trying to breastfeed the baby, and what happened? He just rejected it. He didn't want that. This is not what I want. So what the sister said? Excuse me, and the sister was a what? She was one of the Hebrew slave to this woman. And she said, Miss Lady, do you want me to go get a Hebrew? Who is still working? God is still working. Who is this talking? His sister. Look at it. Now, as I read about this, they said the mother probably at home, like mothers normally do. What was she doing? She probably at home praying. Said, Lord, am I going to see my child again? Lord, I want you to do what? Take care of my child. You know, that's how mothers do. They do all this stuff for us. They pray for us. Nothing better than a mother. And here's a proof right here what this mother was probably at home doing. And this sister said, I know somebody. Do you want me to go and get this Hebrew? And what did the woman say? Yes, because she couldn't stop it. But so, go get this woman. Rita, what that next one tell us?
And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother.
Who was the child mother? Who was the child mother? Who was the child mother? Her mother was the child mother. Who was the child? Her brother. So what she did, she went back to the house. While the mother that praying, she walked in the house and said, Mother, I got a secret for you. What's the secret? Here's your son right here. Come on, come get it. Bring it back. Now what happened there is that who didn't know who this child mother was? Pharaoh's daughter. What did she thought? She thought it was just a what? A Hebrew slave. She thought it was just a Hebrew slave, but look how good God is. What did God do? God allowed her to get her son back again. What happened? She hid him for how many months? 3 months. After she couldn't do nothing, she put him in the river. She prayed, turned him loose, and who came just in time? Who showed up? Doesn't he show up? Look how he showed up right. He showed up right here and let her know, your child. The sister. It says the sister first was standing off, then the sister got there and said, let me get it. I know a person. She know a person because that was her brother. That's what she know. That was her mother. That's the person she talked about. Rita, and what the next one say?
And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the women took the child and nursed it.
Now what's wrong with that? What's right with that? First thing is probably saying that they didn't have money to raise the child. But she still went on and what? Had the child. Now here you go now. Can you believe that? I'm going to pay you to raise your own child.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me who's working right now.
Yes.
Ain't God working? I gave him up.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to pay you to raise him.
Yes.
Tell me that. Somebody said that was just welfare already back then. Take care of your own child. You can't beat it, no matter how you do it, you can't beat that. She gave him up and God said, I'm going to put on this woman's heart, pay you to raise your child. Now, God is just so good. Yeah. Rita, what the next chapter?
And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Look what happened.
Yeah.
After she got all that there,
Yes.
she brought him back and gave it to this woman. Now, can you imagine? I'll raise him up, but I'm still going to give him back to her.
Yes.
So what does this woman tell me that she had? She had faith. She had faith, and she said she was a mother, that this woman can take care of my child.
Yes.
This is my child, but I'm giving to you to take care. That's nothing but having faith in God. Because look what happened. Faith had brought her to the river. Faith had brought the child back to her. And faith even gave her money to take care of her child. So look how God moved. And you tell me God don't move? Something wrong with you. God is always on the move. All we got to do is do what God say do. This woman here was a woman of God. Her name, Jochebed, meaning glory to God. She already had it. The Levite was people that of God, the priestess of God. So she was surrounded by God because she married a godly man. Don't tell me God can't work. All you got to do is give it to God. What they said, when he show up, what does he do? He show out. Didn't he show out right here? How did he show out? Throw him in the river, I'm gonna protect you. Throw him in the river, I'm gonna get you paid to take care of your own child. Who showed up and showed out? God. And the other question, nobody knows what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not only that, I got something. What did she do? She named him who? Moses. Before that, he had no name. She named him Moses because she said what? She dipped him out. Dipped him out. She gave him a name. So that name in Hebrew means the same thing in Egyptian. And that's that. She did. Gave a name, and that's what we came up with the man name of who? Moses. He got his first name from this Egyptian woman. And then there's a question that followed that. The question says, in what ways have you witnessed God showing up in an unexpected ways at the right time to address your most critical need? What ways have God showed up in your life at the most unexpected time? Anybody?
Save you from a car wreck. Save me from a car wreck.
Save her from a car wreck. Who showed up? God showed up. I told you before, my daughter was pregnant. My wife and our son got beat up down in New Orleans. And just so happened that night I was in Kroger's. I looked on the ground and I found a $50 bill. I got back and told my wife, woo, look what I found. But what I didn't know, I would need that $50. Because I had to go, we had to go to New Orleans. My son was beat up and didn't even know he was in the woods. So what I'm telling you, you see how God show up in unexpected times. I'm here glad over the money. So look who showed up. He showed up because he knew we need that money to get to New Orleans. That's all. Don't tell me what God can do. If you say what God can do, something wrong with you. God always what? He always shows up. And what I like about it is that when he shows up, he shows out. So with all that said, and we thought that Pharaoh thought that he had it. But Pharaoh didn't have it. We're going to go back and get somebody who does have it. Read it, are we ready?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to bring somebody here. I had to go all the way to Jackson. You know, the water bad in Jackson. But I brought somebody here to show us, to tell Pharaoh, which he can't tell Pharaoh, but he going to tell us. What is he going to tell us, Rita?
You got no mic.
Can you do it without a mic? Yeah. We're going to do this without a mic. What we consider we're going to do this a cappella. maybe we could get a mic. But my point was that who's in charge? Did Pharaoh realize that who's in charge? He didn't realize that what? God was in charge. But what do we know? We know that what? God is in charge. If we had a mic, we probably have some church. I'm glad we did. But we know that God is still in charge. So I'm going to sit down. He's in charge of our life.
Oh,